Hi, it's What If Wednesday time with Susan Bennett Fisher and Martin Fisher, the co-founders of Body of Nine. What if you actually understood the full cost of not knowing your natural number?
And that's not necessarily the way you'd expect us to phrase today, but we want to really investigate why is it that people don't want to have a better life? Because it really seems to us that there's people that are just resisting having a better life.
And this is also going to be a bit of a philosophical conversation about that issue is that, you know, and I think many healers and practitioners suffer from this. Well, if you could have a better life, why wouldn't you have a better life? And why wouldn't you take the actions that are associated with creating that better life, especially when you can see it around you that it's impacted other people and given them that better life?
Yeah, and this conversation comes from a number of meetings we've had over the last few weeks with like-minded therapists and holistic practitioners, many of whom are suffering from the same frustrations that we suffer from, is that there are simple, almost inexpensive, almost free ways to improve your life to such an amazing way, in such an amazing way that it's kind of sometimes amazing to us why people aren't jumping up and down about making their lives better, and not just about Body of Nine. As Susan said, there's literally hundreds and thousands of people out there that can help you make your life better. And why aren't people doing that? So this is not the first time this conversation's happened. There was a conversation almost hundreds of years ago now about, well, should I believe in God? And a gentleman by the name of Pascal put forward what became known as Pascal's wager. And this is not incredibly relevant to what we're doing here, but let's start the conversation. Pascal's wager basically says there might be a God, there might not be a God. But if there is a God, and I believe that there's a God, that's going to be good. If there is a God, and I don't believe that there's a God, that might not be so good. If there isn't a God, and I believe there's a God, there's no downside to that whatsoever. And if there isn't a God, and I don't believe that, and I believe there's a God, there's no downside to that either. So in that case, there's 3 no downsides and 1 downside. So the obvious answer to Pascal's wager is you might as well believe there's a God because there's no downside to doing it. And even if there isn't, you're not losing anything. Now, there's a lot of philosophical reasons why Pascal's wager doesn't really make a lot of sense and doesn't work. But the question still remains.
Let's apply that to Body of Nine, right? So at some level, the experience with Body of Nine helps you to feel in your body when you get activated the truth that there are 9 physiologically different kinds of people, or at least that you get validated as one of those 9.
Yes, just having the experience of being identified validates you for who you are.
And so the first question is, what if you chose to disbelieve what you're told?
Well, let's look at it from another way. We've worked with 8,000 people, right?
I'm not so good at philosophical conversations. He's better at them. So.
And I'm not doing a great job of this one either. But let's look at some data, right? Let's look at the data side for those of you that are data focused. We've worked with 8,000 people.
From around the world, all 48 nationalities, all races, like a very nice sample size.
And not one of them has come back and said, this is useless. It doesn't mean anything to me. Every person we've talked to has either said, this is nice, it's nice to know that I'm me, to coming back to us 6 months later and saying, you've changed my life. Nobody that we've worked with has said, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter that I have this superpower.
Except when we get it wrong.
Except when we get it wrong. And back in the old days, we were doing 95-ish%. So 5 out of the first couple of thousand, 5% out of the first couple of thousand. That's,
it's a fair number of people.
It's a lot, but it's not huge, but it is a number of people. These days, we're much, much better.
Yes, we are.
And we're probably at 99 a bit. We every now and again, we have to come back round twice. But again, no one is saying this isn't worthwhile.
Right.
And so that, even separating out Body of Nine from the conversation for just a second, if you could, with a relatively little expenditure, make your life twice as good, 3 times as good. And good, by good, I mean feel happier, not feel sad, not feel frightened, not feel you're getting pushed around by the world around you. Why would you not do that?
Well, I can tell you some reasons why I think people don't do that.
Go for it.
They're too busy to stop what they're doing.
So work harder, not smarter?
I know. Well, I know, but that's just the way it is. I mean, I would say that's the answer that I get the most. Too busy. Can't do it. Can't do that now. Can't take on anything new. Focusing on what I want to do and be, and without ever actually really understanding who they are. But they don't know. So if you don't know something,
Yeah.
it's a paradox. It's kind of like, so there's another one of those things. What's the Occam's razor? Is that the one where the cat's in the box? Or
No, that's Schrodinger's cat.
Right? So at some level, body of mind is kind of like Schrodinger's cat, right?
Yeah.
Because until you open the box, you don't know if the cat's dead or not. But once you get the answer, you got the answer. Body of mind's like that too. You don't know that you have a natural number until you do it. And if you don't do it, you're never going to experience it. And so if you never experience it, you can believe whatever you want about what's in the box, right?
So
Is that it?
yeah. It doesn't. Honestly, who knows what's happening in the box? It's kind of an unknown. But it's, some of us like to know. Some of us really just happy that the cat sort of may or may not be alive. The question is, and I think most people watching what we do, these presentations, are actually interested in having a better life. And I'm going to use the term better and better again because it means different things. Actually, at least 9 different things.
As it turns out, yes. Another reason to know about this information.
Yeah, so, as I said, if someone said to you, no matter how good you are at whatever you do, you could be 50% better. And all you've got to do is sit and listen to Martin and Susan for half an hour.
Right. And then actually practice.
Yeah.
A little practice.
But even if you don't practice, once you've been
Your
identified,
your body practices for you.
Doing it because your body's doing this all the time.
Right. So this is the paradox of, I remember once when I was in college, somebody said they were born again Christians and they truly believed that if you had never heard of Jesus Christ, you were going to go to hell.
Which is, it's a belief.
It's a belief, right? But why did I say that? Because this is not quite like that. But if you don't experience it, you're never going to know it. Just like if you don't go to church and experience.
Going back to Pascal again.
Yeah. So it's like what keeps you from jumping off to find out new information and new things? Like what happens to your curiosity and the content of your life such that you stop being curious?
Who was it that said to you, don't rock the boat? Who was it that said to you, it's not worth it? Who was it that said no gain without pain?
No pain, no gain.
Which is not true.
Right. They are not true, actually.
It is one of the fundamental beliefs that is so wrong about the work of getting better. There is a certain element of, well, I'm in pain, I need to get better, yes, but you don't need that pain
in order to get better.
Now,
we can learn. I mean, unfortunately, this is where the world is today. It's actually normally pain, at a level of discomfort that we just really don't want it anymore, that moves us to actually learn new things.
Way back before the Industrial Revolution in England, people, children especially, were free to grow as they wanted to grow, as their parents wanted to grow, as the community had them grow. And as it turns out, what the Industrial Revolution needed was drones. They needed a bunch of workers that could go and do what the
same thing over and over again, whatever it was, yes.
And from that point onwards, we've been more and more put into boxes. And yes, this is an identification system, but it is not putting you in a box.
No, it actually frees you to explore the superpower associated with your body. Take that in. You have a superpower in the way that your body functions that is not consciously aware to you. It's unconsciously you use it all the time. It's where your movement is centered. It's where you tune your body to be with the world around you and take in information. It's your interpreter of your senses.
So we get a little bit of pushback, not very much as it turns out, but every now and again someone's going to say, well, I don't like the term superpower because I'm not Superman and I'm not allergic to whatever Superman's currently allergic to. This is something that you can do naturally that 8 out of 9 of the people in the world can't imagine.
Right. They don't even know it's important.
Right.
I mean, and that's the one other piece of this. It's like we walk around in the world thinking, well, we're either all like each other or we're all completely different. But it turns out that there's actually something different. There are families of us. And also there's 9 functions. And when those functions come together, everything works a lot better. But right now we're out there, everybody's trying to do all 9 functions and we can't. We're not equipped to do it. And we are trying to put our wisdom without its context onto other people.
If any of you are listening and thinking, you know, I'm really not happy with what I'm doing, but I wish I knew what I could do. What am I good at? What is your natural purpose? And we can tell you.
We can tell you.
And
what 9,000 people who wear the same kind of Earth suit here on this planet Earth, how that Earth suit is equipped and what it's capable of doing. And so, just like you.
Yeah. And so there's people that know there's more. That's one of the reasons we got here, because we were pretty sure there was, and we've been lucky enough to go some way towards finding.
Well, we did find something more.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've been able now to identify and activate all 9 in our body now for over 10 years at least. Mm-hmm. And we still have no idea how to do your superpower as well as you do. Right. Except for 5 and except for 6.
Right. Our superpower is pretty damn developed.
Yeah. And so, but my ability to do Susan's superpower is almost non-existent. It's kind of coming, but it needs a lot of practice. And, we don't do the hours of work that we would have to do to be that good at each of the natural numbers, because
you've been doing it since well, and also you've been doing your natural number thing since you were born, literally. From the time you come out of the womb, well, sometimes actually in the womb, it starts to develop.
Because every mother will tell you the kids in their womb, they move differently, they behave differently.
They feel differently, yeah. And then when they're born, when they're learning to move and interact with the world, it's quite distinct. Mm-hmm. You watch a natural number 7 learn to walk, they will actually lay on the ground, put their forehead into the ground, put their butt up in the air, and then lift up their head. I mean, and the rest of the other natural numbers is like, are you kidding me?
Or walking backwards to stand up like natural number 9.
Right, yeah, or leaning backwards. Yeah. Why don't little baby 9s not fall over? They look like they're about to fall over, but they're not.
When I was in my mid-30s, I figured I was content, and I was. But content is an awful place to be. It really is.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess content means you've got food, shelter, and love.
There's the hierarchy of needs.
Right. Food and shelter and love. And that you're not living in fear for your safety or your life. That makes most people content.
How many people are not living in fear of their life right now, or their safety? I think most people that are currently living, certainly in the Western civilization, I'm not going to say around the world, are not living in safety. They don't feel safe. One could imagine why they don't feel safe, but we're not going to go down that path. But there are many of us.
Well, there's a relevant point there that I do want to make. So there are many of us that what?
There are many of us that have learned how not to feel scared all the time. By looking at our beliefs, by looking at our own capabilities, by building great communities and being comfortable in the bigger things. Just as we've been put into boxes since we were young by our education system, we've been put into a place of fear by environment, by society.
By our life experiences.
The last 3 years, it's fear after fear after fear. And if one fear is not big enough, let's wrap that fear up and make it longer. Yeah. You had a bigger point to make.
Well, I've forgotten it now, so it'll come back if it's important. Yeah. But I mean, the point about fear is fear controls us. So if you, this is the point. So because you can be controlled by fear, especially unconscious fear, so that you aren't aware that the fear and anxiety that you're experiencing is coming from the outside of you. Because the natural numbers are each empathic in a very different way and feel anxiety and fear of the world in a little bit different way. But it is absolutely freezing for all of us. So when you are experiencing that, you're in a fight or flight state. You're either going to run away or you're going to fight somebody. And either way, you're not actually in a rational place where any conversation or learning can happen.
And if you're sitting there thinking, no, I'm actually doing a good job, I'm not in fear, let me ask a question. Do you think that you're wearing the right clothes? Are you worried that you may smell? Do you think your teeth need to be whiter? Because that's just as much fear as, are we going to have a nuclear bomb dropped on us? And
am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I right? Do I have value? Yeah. So all of these unconscious belief systems that get buried into our body by the signals and messages from the world around us instill anxiety and fear in order to get you to do something most of the time. Or because somebody that you love or that was teaching you, that was a belief system that they held. So we take on these unconscious belief systems. When they're unconscious, you can't choose to change that. And that is really the true beauty of finding out your natural number, It gives you the ability to activate what we call your cosmic observer, so you can see your behaviors, and then you can dig to what's the belief system that underlies that behavior, and do I still want it? And that's why fear and consciousness are so important to understand.
The freedom to be you, to acknowledge and support and be supported by your natural
Way of being,
your natural you, is unbelievably powerful.
Would you activate your own body in your own natural number, or learn to activate one of the other natural numbers? It's such a gift to yourself in terms of your ability to understand who you are, to know the gift that you are, to offer the gift to others, and to receive theirs. Because every single human being is and has a gift.
And if you then want to impact the world around you, and you may not,
Yeah.
I think some people do,
Yeah,
I think some people don't, but the news is that everybody does.
It does impact the world,
Yeah.
whether they want to or not.
Right. If you're just sitting there and everyone else is moving around you, you're still impacting the world. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously your choice how you impact the world. But if you want to impact the world more profoundly, if you want to with consciousness, if you want to be better for the environment, if you want to be better for the planet, if you want to be better for your family, if you want to be better for the friends, and again, if you want to be better for you, knowing your natural number makes all those things more accurate, more possible, more efficient. It's working way, way smarter, not harder.
It starts you on an evolutionary journey, literally an evolutionary journey. So the identification and the ability to turn on your own earth suit begins to reveal new perspectives, new ways of experiencing the world, finer tuning of our understanding of how we can be together and the impact that we have on each other. The benefits are incredible, and yet still people choose not to have this experience. And, Martin and I, we've always been explorers, and that's been part of our nature.
And we've been lucky enough to get here with support of some amazing people and an amazing community. We've made some wise choices.
And we invite you to start your own evolutionary journey by just choosing to not disbelieve us and have an experience of your own so that you can make a choice.
If not now, when? There is no time like the present.
Right. There may not be a future.
Yeah.
And we're not, one of the things I hate about where the world is right now is we have this fear-based marketing that's going on out there. So we're trying not to engage in that fear-based marketing. But the reality is your life is the sum of the days that you live. And if you don't make today count, the sum of your life becomes a nothing.
And if that's okay for you, that's okay for you. That's great.
It's okay for you. It's your choice,
it's
right?
Your choice.
We're not here making your choices. We're just inviting you to make a choice that is actually conscious, that will change how you experience the rest of your life.
And if you take nothing else from this What If Wednesday, go away thinking,
well, why not?
Why not? And why? How can I achieve what I want to achieve? Have you already achieved what you want to achieve? Well, great.
And going back to Pascal's wager, well, suppose there is no such thing as natural number, but you choose to believe that there is. No big deal. If you choose to ignore the fact that there are 9 physiologically different kinds of people, you're going to go through your life in a state of missing 8/9 of the magic and beauty of the world around you.
Let me add another.
Wait, I'm not done. And then if you actually choose to believe, and it's true, which is our personal experience, you're going to have a transformational experience of your life.
So I'm going to ramp the discussion up here, and I'm going to be a new version. I'm going to call it Martin's Wager. And Martin's Wager is, what if we are supposed as humanity to evolve? What if that there is something bigger for everybody on this planet, for every human being? What if there's more that we should be doing but are not on this planet? That's Martin's Wager. And Martin's Wager basically says, if it's true, you need to get identified. If it's not true and you get identified, you're not losing anything. But if you choose not to get identified and it is true, you are holding humanity back.
That's right. Yourself and every person that you come in contact with, you are not giving the gift of you, and you are not able to receive their gift. And that's a disservice to yourself and to everybody around you.
Right. So think about Martin's Wager.
I like it.
Because really,
Yeah.
you.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. You
Yeah.
could be part of the group that's moving humanity forward, or not. You could be part of the group that is holding humanity back.
We're choosing to move humanity forward. And every day we risk everything for the purpose of that. If you're brave enough to come along on the journey with us, we really, really want you with us.
And if you don't want to get identified, don't want to find out your natural number, but you're just content, please find something every day that you can do a little bit better, regardless of what it is. We'll see you next time.
Sorry for the soapbox. Not
I know.
really. But thanks for listening.
Bye for now.